But have you ever wondered, what do I do with this fennel? I mean, it's beautiful, but I mean, what the heck do you do with this thing? So I thought I'd come on and show you one way that I like to fix fennel, and that's a fennel slaw. Really delicious. So just to go over the anatomy here, this is the stalk where it was picked. These grow right, it's just barely above ground, maybe the bulb a little below ground, and all the roots come. They've got a big root system, by the way. So this is the bulb, kind of the edible part of the fennel, and these are called the fronds. And you can also chop these up, and they use them kind of like an herb or a seasoning. So don't be quick to throw this end part away, all right? So to make, and by the way, these can be consumed raw or cooked, which makes it a really versatile vegetable, right? So raw, it's really delicious as a slaw, which is what I'm gonna make today, but it can just go in a salad in general. So really good raw. Cooked, these can be split and they can be roasted, and a really delicious flavor. They kind of have almost a licorice flavor, but not real overpowering. You can smell it. There's kind of that licorice scent to it. Really delicious. I like them better raw in a slaw, but that's up to you. But the slaw I'm gonna make today, it has one large fennel bulb, which we'll use. I've got some stalks of scallion, and I'm gonna use both the end and the greens on these. It'll add some color and really delicious. If you're not wanting it to be so oniony, then just use 2, but I like the flavor. I have 3 stalks of celery, and I grabbed some of the leaves from the celery because they're like another herb and they add some flavor. I have about 1/4 of a lemon because we're going to use the juice. And let's see, I have some apple cider vinegar, very basic ingredient that I always have on hand, and I have some olive oil. That's all I usually put in this slaw, but I happen to have some red cabbage on hand, so I'm going to blend that in there just to add some additional color. All right, so how does that sound? So this is going to be an apple slaw, and say hi if you're here, so I know you're watching. So I'm going to grab the biggest bowl I have. Okay, get the big one. Then you don't struggle cooking, because there's nothing worse than filling a bowl, a small bowl with your ingredients. You can't mix it. You end up adding more oil, and what a waste. You don't need that. So get the biggest bowl you have, okay? Let me just get this out of the way for a second. And we're just gonna add, I don't know, about 2 or 3 tablespoons worth of olive oil. Just throw it into the bottom of the bowl. I have ordered more, so don't worry. I never like to run out of olive oil. And you could use avocado oil in this if you want to. And in fact, if I run short, I may need to add some of that. And shake the cider vinegar, because there's always a little sediment at the bottom. And I never measure, but I'm using the cap just to make sure I don't pour too much in. So we want to get about 1 tablespoon or so. So like 4 capfuls ought to do it, right? Okay. We wanted the juice from this 1/4 of a lemon. And I took 1/4 of a lemon because I know this one is super juicy, but half lemon if you have one that's a little on the drier side. And you know what I'm gonna do? Not part of the plan. I hate wasting good flavor. And the peel of the lemon, when you zest it, adds even more flavor. So we might as well grab a little bit of that off of this peel. Just a little. Nothing I make tastes the same every time. But the lemon peel just really adds another dimension of flavor that's really nice. All right, now it can go in the compost, and I've used every bit of it. So just wipe what you need in there. Okay. So I need some salt and pepper. I needed something to wipe my hands with. Sorry. We need some salt and pepper. I'm going to use some Himalayan sea salt in here. It's a pink Himalayan sea salt. It's healthy. It's a nice touch. And it's not as coarse as my kosher salt that I usually use for cooking, since this is going to be raw. And like a teaspoon or so in there, because we're going to possibly add some more later. You know, Once you oversalt, you really can't go back. So keep it light. But I just want to put a little in so we can blend this together, and we might add more later. And we got some coarse black pepper going in. Okay, that's it. This is a super easy recipe, which I like. See what's nice about a big bowl? I don't even need to dirty a spoon. Just blend that together. Okay, now we're gonna start chopping and just add everything to this bowl. So super simple. And since the celery is right here in front of me, I might as well start with that. Can you see? Okay. Hey, just stack them up, okay? Largest to smallest. And you can run a knife right through them. I want nice, thin pieces, but this isn't a fussy recipe. If you want it chunkier, go for it. It's fine. You're wondering what you might use this slaw for. I'm gonna grill. I like slaw with barbecue of different types, grilled food. And I have a plan for some grilled chicken thighs, which I make with lots of garlic and paprika. But if the rain persists, I'm gonna do them another way. Maybe even try the air fryer, I don't know. But another way this slaw is really good is just a little bit of it on a taco. Really good. With carnitas, and you know, anytime you want a side. I don't eat too many sandwiches, but I think this would be really good with a sandwich. All right, these are done. And everything's just gonna go in a bowl, okay? Like I said, this is easy. All right, so I mentioned that I also grabbed some of the leaves from the celery. They make a nice herb, gives it a good amount of flavor. Celery leaves, don't throw them away. Chop them up and use them, okay? And if you don't get a chance to make a slaw with these celery leaves, definitely add them to your salad. See, I chopped that up fine and it just took a second. The most expensive food is the food you waste. Just remember that. All right, so I've got some scallions, and again, I'm just gonna lop the ends off of these into the compost. I'm gonna keep the very end green pieces to garnish, and then we can cut this up into little thin rounds, right? And again, this isn't a fussy recipe, so don't worry if it's not perfect. All right, here we go. Nice scallion in there. I love the flavor of the scallion. But if you don't have any scallions, like some thin sliced red onion will work, even regular onion will be fine. Just wanna kind of keep the same flavor profile, and I'm sure it will be delicious. All right, let's tackle this baby, okay? So we got the fennel. Move my bowl. Make sure you have a sharp knife, okay? And we just wanna cut this end off, this core part that's not really edible. Okay, so that brings us down to this. Now, we wanna slice this as thinly as possible, and you can do that with a knife. Just hold on to it and go real careful. If you have a mandolin, and I take out the gadgets very seldomly, but if you have a mandolin, this would be a good time to use this, okay? Super dangerous weapon that will take half your hand off, but this is a good time to use the mandolin because you're gonna get some nice thin slices, and if some of these fronds are in your way, just lop them off. But see, I can run down this nicely, and you see the nice slices I'm getting off of there, okay? Nice and thin. So let's do that. And again, if you don't have one of these, don't worry, just slice as thinly as you can with a knife. I'm missing an ingredient I need to go get out of the refrigerator in a minute, but let's just do one thing at a time here and get this sliced up. You might have to turn it just to kind of keep it going. But the nice thing about the fennel is you got something to hold on to as you go through the mandolin, because once you get down towards the end, you always want to use the guard on these things, because boy, you can really take off some skin. Why do I keep saying that? I guess because it's happened, okay? I don't want it to happen to you. So just keep going. We're getting some nice thin slices. See how nice that looks? Okay, that's going to be perfect in our slaw. And I'm getting these in the bowl just to kind of clear up some space here. And we can just keep these outer pieces are kind of loose, so I may have to take a knife to them. So we're just going to keep going on the end of them and get it all sliced up. And this is a good sized piece of fennel. The bulb is about the size of a baseball, very large one. Got this in my Imperfect Foods order this week. So if you have smaller fennel, you might need to use 2 or 3 to make a decent amount of slaw. Or just use, you know, less celery and everything else and just make a smaller batch. No harm in that. All right, we're almost to the end of the part that we're going to use. There we go, that's it. We're down to the stalk. So let's get this in the bowl as well. This is beautiful. This is going to be so good. And you can really smell it now that you start slicing. All right, one more item. I need an apple. That's what's going to make this slaw good. And add some tartness. Any kind of apple. If you have the green ones, that's even more tartness. This is just a nice regular apple. Gala, that'll work. All right, so we want to julienne this apple or matchstick it. And I'll show you what I mean. We want really thin pieces because we want that apple to be blended throughout the slaw really nicely. So right now I'm just getting rid of the core, which of course we don't want. In fact, I get it all the way out of the way so it doesn't mistakenly make its way into the slaw. And now we're gonna cut into some thin slices first. Watch the fingers. And then from there, just line them up. And we're gonna cut again to make these thin. This is a julienne. So they're thin little pieces like a matchstick. All right, so take your time doing this. This is the relaxing part of cooking to me. It's just chopping ingredients, enjoying the different textures, and combining them all together to make something really good. That's what it's all about. So again, thin slices first. This is about as thin as you can cut without using equipment. And then you can stack them and make those little cuts across. Okay, this little end piece, these here. And this is really gonna be delicious. Perfect blend of ingredients in here. All right, slice up this piece here. Watch the fingers. And you always have one little piece at the end that you have to do a little more effort to. And then slice this way. Yeah. Now, another option, if you don't want to do this slicing, but you still want to make this slaw, you could always use a grater and just grate the apple. It'll kind of be finer that way. I kind of like the matchsticks. It's kind of more consistent with the other vegetables in here, but it's up to you. But a box grater would be fine, and you'll still get it into its little pieces. But see, I'm almost done. It doesn't take long. Just a little bit more time than the celery, say, just because we got a few extra cuts to make. All right, there we go. All right, everything's in there. And like I said, I have some purple cabbage, so I thought, why not add it? But it's not really part of my original recipe. But I thought, you know, why not? Because it'll just add some beautiful color. And you know me, I like to eat the rainbow. Get all those phytonutrients in here. All right, I think that's enough. And let's just give it another chop across. In we go. We're about done. Okay, so I have everything here in the bowl. Tongs are about the best way. What I want to do is start mixing this around and just blend it in with the dressing that we made at the bottom. So I like putting dressings at the bottom and tossing in a big bowl. You will use half. If you start pouring it on the top, it just somehow doesn't blend appropriately, and you end up adding more and more oil. And there's no point, right? You keep it nice and light, nice and fresh, and it won't be drippy or soggy. This is a crisp slaw, really nice. Okay, look at that. Delicious, and it's got some great color. So you want to taste a piece. I want more pepper in there. That's what I want. And actually the salt level seems about right, allowing for anybody to want to add a little extra on the table if they choose to. I think that needs to be refilled, so we'll go to Plan B. There we go. That is all we need to do in here. This is done. So I'm going to refrigerate this slaw and kind of let the flavors get happy. And weather permitting, I'm going to grill, and this will be my side dish. So I hope you'll try this, and remember not to waste the fronds on the fennel. Right before serving, I'll show you. I'm going to chop up a few. These you want to chop really fine, okay? Very, very finely. And that will be just almost like as if you're seasoning with dill, you know, just an extra little bit of greenery. Don't throw it in now. Might as well. But I have more fronds. I'll keep them, maybe use them in some salads and so forth. No waste. And actually what I'm going to do is take this end piece and see if I can root it. Love a scrap garden. All right, I will get this in the refrigerator and get the rest of my dinner going in a little while. I hope you'll try the fennel slaw, or let me know what other things you make with fennel.